for the delay, but eh, you know, sometimes you gotta take a break. And the viewership was a little low, so mm, I I will say this. Um, there may be some changes to this channel um in the near or coming future. I can't say when or where, but there may be some profound changes to this channel. I mean, it it doesn't make sense just to live stream to like a select few people. That's not going to grow the channel. So, in the efforts to make sure the channel continues to grow, so that I can have money to buy my fruit snacks, I am there will be changes made. I won't say when those changes will be made and what sort of changes will be made, but there will be changes, and I can't. So I'm not going to say when or what changes, but there will be changes made in order to get more views on here. Whatever, basically whatever it takes, we'll see. Um, I won't compromise on my intellectual views, but on other things can change drastically. Just saying that up forward. I mean, no one's here yet in the chat room, but just letting it be known that there shall be changes in the future, and they may be rather drastic. I'm not going to say what those changes will be, nor when I will implement them. But uh, if people want to see me do more things, or if people have suggestions on what I do, it would help to do so by hitting that super chat. I mean, if you can make suggestions to what I share or what I create on here by dropping a super chat. You can hit that super chat button. That will help me curate what you guys want to see better. Um, and if you like this or any of my other videos, I kindly suggest you to hit the hype button. The hype button will open my content to more viewers. So if you do enjoy what I show or share or whatever, and you can hit the hype button. That is free. Hitting the hype button is free. And it does me a ton of it would do me a lot. Tina Morales, what's up? But yeah, so today is Ask Your Uncle a Question. So I've accepted the title. I re- Being in my late 40s, I have to accept the Unc title. I didn't accept it back in my 20s, though. That was crazy. Being called Unc in my 20s was crazy. Mind you, look at how I look now in my late 40s. I look much younger in my 20s. For instance, uh, when I was still in the army, I think I was what 25. Yeah, I think I was 25, and I was with another person in my unit who was only 19, and this sergeant came up to us. He said, God, you guys look young. He said, how old are you? And the, the new guy, I think he was still a private. He was like, I'm 19, so he's like, and you? I was like, I'm 25. He's like, wow. He said, you guys look the same age. So mind you, 25, saying I look the same age as a 19-year-old guy. and being called Unc. That's crazy. In my late 40s, it makes sense. So, like I said, go ahead and ask me your questions. Yes, I do have a little YouTube poster in back of me, uh, which they sent to me last year. That's why I purposefully sit in front of it, so that would be in the background. Okay, that is on purpose. I think I should sit this down. Let me see how this goes. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't flip. Oh, Gwendolyn Johnson, how are you? Show of Life 1075. What's up? So, like I said, guys, this is Ask the Uncle Question. If you want to go ahead and ask me questions, just make sure they're family friendly questions. Family friendly questions only. But you can go ahead and ask me family friendly questions. Gwendolyn says I'm a boy. Well, I didn't make any aspersions to your gender. But yeah, when I saw Gwendolyn, I would have probably assumed a woman. How old are you? I'll just say I'm in my late 40s. I usually do give my whole age, but it's not wise to give specific things on here. And I'm always a former friend and former moderator always says I overshare. I used to have like my whole name. Well, I didn't give my whole government name, but I used to have like my degrees in the background to show like my whole government name, and I had some little trolls like doing stuff. Then I was given I was given my birth date. That's not good because people can put all that stuff together. They're like, oh, I got his government name, I got his birth date, and try to do some identity theft sort of stuff or whatever. But yeah, ask me your questions, guys. And like I was saying, for folks, well, obviously not people watching right now, but for folks who may be watching this broadcast on replay, who've been rocking with me for a while, like I said, I'm already giving the warning that sometime in the future, this channel will undergo some drastic changes to make it in the effort to get more viewership because my viewership is very low um, compared to the amount of subs that I have. Um, I haven't had any breakout views on any of my content in a while, so that's a bit alarming. That's why I was saying um, those super chats will help a lot because those super chats will let me know what people want to see. As I not only do I do these live streams, I do my pre-recorded long form videos. Also, will add in my little short videos as well. It's usually like a minute long. Uh, so the super chats will let me know what people want to see. It's like, okay, do they want me to live stream more about asking anything formats like this? Do they want to see me engage in more conversations on my pre-recorded videos? Do they like when I just share random thoughts on my short videos? So yeah, it's up to you guys. I mean, there's stuff that I plan to do that I haven't done yet, just because of opportunity and resources. Which was, I wanted to show more. I wanted to show some more martial arts content, and in the effort to do so, I was thinking I might even start a secondary channel just for the martial arts content. Okay, or um, I also wanted to get back to my traveling, which I haven't done in a long time, and share some footage when I do that. But again, these sort of things cost money, and in the effort to do so, it would help if I was actually making money from this. But I'm not really making money from this. Yes, I do get money from this, but not enough to like actually do anything like serious. Like seriously, the most money I get from this is like buy goes to like me buying snacks or stuff like that. Like that's it. Buying snacks. I think once I like bought some running shoes. That's about it. I'm not big balling, off of this. This is like this isn't my actual like 9 to 5, you know, so to speak. So anywho, so we just had our first troll, but the person was asking for a shout out, thinking I was stupid enough to do it. I don't do shout outs unless you're doing a super chat. If anyone wants a shout out, drop it in the form of a super chat. I am I'm amenable to almost anything when in the context of a super chat, almost anything. But if you're asking, you're playing yourself if you think I'm going to do something for free. But like I said, plus, like I said, also the super chats allows me to know what people want to see. The reason being is that people vote with their money, right? Like people express their opinions with their money. So anything someone's willing to add money to is something they actually care about. Right. So that's why I was saying the super chats will go a long way in helping me know what people want to see. Because if someone's willing to drop $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, whatever, $1, if someone's willing to drop a bit of change to express a certain view, I know that that's something they want to see or hear me respond um, to them sharing. Okay. And also, like I said, it costs you nothing to hit the hype button at the bottom of this video. Hitting the hype button will again allow me to expand my viewership, and that will help. That will go a long ways helping. The hype button is only you're only gonna see this on the videos of small YouTubers like myself. Ironically, YouTube considers anyone under 500,000 views a small time YouTuber, which is funny because for me, anyone in the 100,000 range to me has made it. But there's literally thousands of YouTubers with with millions of subs. So all of us who are under 500,000, we're small potatoes as far as YouTube is concerned. However, they would like the chance for the smaller YouTubers to grow as well because when we grow, they grow. So that sort of thing, and I'm all for it. but as far as I can tell, I don't think anyone has hit the hype button. Uh, I've even asked friends to do so, and they claim they can't find it. But it really fucking upsets me. Excuse my language. What's up, Roman? Roman dash A9 S3J. But yeah, it really grinds my gears when I ask something as simple as to like my video, and I can't even get the people who regularly watch me to like the videos. So it's like, don't ask me to do anything if you're not going to actually help me out. What's my channel about? So generally, what my channel is about is just me expressing my honest opinions on things, whether it's things going on in current events, pop culture. Sometimes I share my like intellectual and academic views on things. Like there's been like streams where I've just like read like whole essays. Um, at times I get very political, but that's not what I'm all about. Some people, depending on when they came into watching me, may assume that all my stuff is just political when that actually was never meant to be at the forefront of what I shared. But it was easy to talk about on here with folks. So I did a lot of it. And then at one point I was I had a contract with this company that was training their AI on content creators like myself, and they were more interested in political conversations. So that's when I really started clamping down on having those political conversations. Uh, but they didn't know how to pay a brother, so I exterminated my contract with them, and now I just talk about whatever I like. I don't focus just on politics unless it's something just gonna like, unless it's like something hot to talk about at the time, right? Roman says, "Oh crap, I'll sub to you, my guy." Oh, appreciate it. Uh, that helps a lot. J Dizzle 79 says AI taking over. Yeah, I mean, I don't care about the spread of AI as long as there's more regulation with it as it spreads. One, there needs to be more regulation of it. So we shouldn't stop the technology, the AI technology, because it will be helpful in the long run. But just because we shouldn't stop the technology from developing doesn't mean we shouldn't have any regulation on it. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. Moreover, we need to find places suitable for all these data centers that's going to be necessary for this AI. Trying to put this into people's backyards ain't going to work. They, data centers are going to be like the are going to be the 21st century's version of a nuclear facility. Like everyone knows the benefits of nuclear energy, but no one wants that in their backyard. It's going to be pretty much the same thing with these data centers. No one wants that in their backyard. It destroys the local environment. It's going to drive up heat, uh, drain a lot of the local water supply, which presumably they would pay for. So, but nah, no, no one's gonna want a big ass data center in their backyard. Said just keep doing what you're doing, man. Appreciate it. And like I said, it helps. Like I was saying earlier, it helps if people do super chats. 'Cause that way, I know what they actually want me to talk about. Because like I said, people vote with their money, right? So if people are willing to put $1, $2, $5, however much down on expressing views with me, I know what they want to hear and what they want to see. Like J Dizzle announces they got AI that found vulnerabilities in 20-year-old operating systems. Well, I would say if you're using a 20-year-old operating system, it's going to have vulnerability. It reminds me when the Navy was still running, was still using Windows XP well into like the 2010s. Like, why are they still running Windows XP in the 2010s? And it's because all of their all of their systems were still connected to that XP, so it would have been harder to to get a new operating system because that means then they would have to change out all of their their technology they were using at the time as well. So what Microsoft was doing was actually creating. I think this is what they were doing. Don't quote me on this exactly, but if I remember correctly, what I remember happening was Microsoft was creating security patches just for the Navy to keep running that uh, the XP on their systems for their tech. But I would think now that it's 2026, they are not still running Windows XP. But yeah, if you're running a 20-year-old operating system, of course it has vulnerabilities. It only takes a year for hackers to find problems with the system. And you're talking about 20 years, 2 decades in 2 decades in the computer world is like a century for like regular tech, right? Like that's that's a long time to not expect problems with that software. Like running a 20-year-old software, I think AI and you don't even need AI to find those vulnerabilities. You can just find human level hackers that can find those problems. Like I said, usually they can find vulnerabilities within a few years. Everything starts off great. Well, not everything, but a lot of software starts off great, but it only takes a little while before a hacker can find vulnerabilities with it. Um, but again, for folks, if I know it's not very many of you in the chat room, but if people are watching, for people who are going to watch this on replay, or um, you're lurking right now, or you're just lurking right now, again, this is ask your uncle question. Go ahead and ask me those questions. For folks who are watching this on replay and not watching this live, you can ask me your questions in the comment section. But this is ask your uncle question. So this is just a variation of my ask me anything format where I'm trying to bring in the younger folks. It's usually the people I I chatted up with a lot on here, usually my age or older. But here I'm trying to draw in younger people with whom I've pushed away for like 3 years, and I don't know why I did that. That wasn't probably not the best decision since they're probably gonna be the bulk of people on here, not the people my age. The people my age tend to watch stupid shit. I'm not gonna front. Like they'll sit there and watch 2 hour, 3 hour podcasts, and then will share that to me. I'm like, dude, I'm not watching that. Like in that 2 or 3 hours, I could do other things. Like I could watch something that I actually enjoy, like a movie or binge a TV show. I'm not going to sit there and watch a 3 hour podcast of someone talk about something that I've heard talked about ad nauseum, like the problems with women, the all this dumb caffeine fight. information. It's, it's like I don't get why you would spend 2 3 hours doing it. I get for some people they just have that shit on in the background while they're working. I don't do that. Like even when I have something on in the background, it's still gonna be something that I tend to enjoy. I'm not gonna watch someone just drone on about something I've heard a million times just because they're talking about something with which I already agree. My other friends, they can do that if they want. I think it's a waste of fucking time. Put down in my faucet. But yeah, um, it's funny. Every time I speak French, people think I'm a tether. I'm not a tether. I'm not. I'm not Haitian or African. I was just a black dude who took 5 years of French in middle school and high school. Time out. Anyway, yeah. So, like I said, guys, go ahead and ask me those questions. Hold up, let me check my chat filter here. I know I straightened it up earlier, but I just want to go ahead and double check that. All right. So anyway, um, oh, and I did a few days ago drop a new video. If people want to hear me, hear me and my friend like um chop it up on. So we talked specifically about black misandry and related topics. Misandry meaning hatred of men, and black misandry meaning like specifically within the black community. Uh, but we don't just address black misandry. We talk about it more in general as well as like in America and Western culture. Um, and we talk about other related stuff. So it's both. I think some of it is insightful, some of it is just meant to be humorous. Uh, so you know, do me a favor, check it out, see if you find it entertaining or not. Well, regardless, irrespective of whether you actually agree with my friend and I, um, that you don't have to agree with what we're saying. I just, I would just like if people found it entertaining. That's all. Mm, am I getting tired already? Well, I'm gonna keep this going for as long as I can before I get tired. I get up early. It's almost close to that time, really. Um, I mean, close to that time where not where I get up. I mean, time I go to bed. It's hot out, so I'm gonna take a nice shower before I do that, though. Um, but yeah, like I said, uh, looking to bring a younger audience into my viewership. Because I don't, I guess looking at my analytics, since I saw there was already older people watching me, that's what I catered towards, which was fine. But that didn't mean, I should push away other uh, age groups as well. Hey, Sean, Constance, what's your opinion on gay people? You got to be more specific than that. Like, that's such a, I don't like open ended questions. Like, um, that you're not asking me an opinion. You're asking me like, you're asking me like a general thought on an entire group of people. Like, I don't have an opinion that broad. My opinions tend to be very narrowly focused. So you have to, you have to like kind of. restrict the scope of that question a bit for me to answer because I don't really have a strong opinion on gay people generally, for or against. I have specific opinions on things about them, but if you have, I think you have a you have something specific in mind. So just ask that. Like John says, like if one of your family members wanted to be gay, what would you say to them? Again, what? I'm not trying to be funny, but that is again that is what sort of family member? Like I have literally hundreds of family members. Do you mean a family? You know a close family member, like like a child or a parent or a cousin. Like what? And what do you mean if they wanted to be gay? It's not you want to be gay. Either you are or you aren't. It's not a choice. I wouldn't care. I do have I do have gay cousins. I don't care what they do. It doesn't affect me. I don't care. It's not they want to be. You don't. We know by now because of evidence. Like we actually have done brain imaging of people of both straight men and homosexual men, and there are biological differences in the brain between gay men and straight men. Like it's not they just choose to or want to be gay. Like that is something that is biological. Like it's like saying someone chose to be left-handed. I didn't choose to be left-handed. Like so, like you were coming from a culture that has not had very much um, education in alternative lifestyles. Like this is like something from like this is something I would picture someone talking about like 40 years ago, like in the 80s, not in 2026. But I'm guessing you're not American. I know we had that conversation before. And I don't remember what you told me, but I'm almost sure that you're not American with a question like that. Is it gay to kiss a dude? um, look, uh, I'm I'm not trying to be funny here. I'm not trying to be funny, but for the other people who are watching this or will be watching this on replay, they're going to be thinking the same thing I am. So I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Dude, if you want to step out of the closet, go right on ahead. No one's going to, I can't talk about the people in your life, but on this end of the screen, there's no judgment here. If you are questioning your sexuality, that, that's, the whole live your truth thing. But um, as far as whether it's gay to kiss a dude, it's all in the context. And look, it depends on the culture, the context, and the type of kiss. It's all in the context. Like, are you kissing a person as a matter of romantic affection, or are you giving them the kiss of death, like you see in a lot of gangster films? When Michael Corleone kissed his brother when they um, at the dinner in Cuba, he wasn't kissing him because he was gay. He was kissing him as in goodbye, you're dead to me. Also, in certain cultures, like men show more physical affection towards each other than in Western cultures. And frankly, like I said, a lot of Western men will find it uncomfortable doing some of the stuff that some men do in cultures in the Middle East or South Asia, where men will hold hands or or whatever, and it's not considered gay. Um, Again, it's all in the cultural context and the social context of why someone would kiss, why another male would kiss another male. I can say coming, and I'm saying it because I'm not trying to be ethnocentric here, but in the Western world, typically that is a no-no. Again, unless it's a, although it sometimes does happen, but not in, but not in a romantic way. Like it can happen between straight men, but not in an affectionate way. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's all in the context. So, but by and large, in Western culture, it's a no go unless it's like I said, unless it's within specific context. Like when you see Vince Vaughn kiss Owen Wilson or someone like that, it's not in a sexual way. It's in a comedic way. So that's all I can say about that. But you seem, again, like I said, the fact that you're harping on this makes me think you might be questioning your own sexuality. And if that is the case, that is perfectly fine. Tayshawn says if humans consistently choose words, outcomes, then wait, what? If humans consistently choose words, outcomes, then AI would does preserve. Oh, worse. Okay, I'm sorry. If humans consistently choose worse outcomes than AI would, does preserving human freedom still matter more? Why or why not? What? What? What do you mean by human freedom? I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be pedantic, but if you, the words have to be chosen more carefully so I can give a better answer. Like, what do you mean by human freedom? And what do you mean choose worse outcomes than AI would? AI is an outcome of is one of our outcomes. So I'm not sure what that even means. I don't think you understand what AI is. You make it sound like AI is some sort of sentient being apart from what it's being programmed to do, and it's not. AI, what most people call AI, is just large language models. These large language models are algorithms that are pro, that are taught to be self-correcting, so that they can uh, put out better information, or at least put out information more quickly. Not necessarily more accurate information. So I'm not even sure what that means because I'm not sure what AI means to you, nor what you mean by human freedom. Um, if by human freedom, like I, I am a determinist more or less, um, because I'm not sure what most people mean by freedom, um, human freedom. I think the concept is muddled, and it really does. All of look, one of the things we know in psychology is that all of like human behavior is governed by the laws of science, just like everything else is, which leaves virtually no role for some sort of human freedom or free will in the context of understanding human behavior and human thought. Um, so that's why I said, what do you mean by human freedom? And if you're talking about human freedom as far as political freedom, sure. But if you're talking about some sort of nebulous free will, like that, I find that dubious because there's no common agreement to actually what free will is. And then, like I said, with with uh, with psychological science, we know that you know all of human behavior is governed by the laws of science. So I don't even know where there would be this human freedom that would be a part of the explanation of how humans think and behave. Keishan says, "Well, I'm trying to say if a machine could make better choices than people, would you trust it to run important parts of society like laws, healthcare, money, or do you think humans should stay in control?" Well, those are many different things. I can't speak for all of that. Already, machines can make better choices than people in some instances, which is why we use it. We're going to see it used more in medical diagnoses and in banking. Like one of the aftermath of cryptocurrency has been the the what do you call it, the chain, uh, the blockchain stuff or whatever, um, which has been able to yield more secure sorts of banking processes. As far as laws, I don't know how that will work unless you mean I don't know how that refers to lawmaking. That is specifically a thing that people need to do, unless you're talking about as far as like in courtroom sentencing or something. But again, the question is, I get you're trying to ask like these. I get you're trying to ask like these conceptual and ethical questions, but they're too vague for me at least. Like I said, I'm not one who likes to ponder open-ended questions. I like things that are very specific and detailed that I can answer intelligently. Otherwise, I mean, speculating here, and like, I mean, that's all fine and good. We can speculate, but I still want it to be like kind of, it to be kind of like meaningful in some sense. But like I said, there are already computers that do certain things better than us already. That's a given. But we created those the machines to do those very things. That, again, that's what the large language models of these generative AI do. Like whether we're talking about Chat GPT, developed through OpenAI, Google Gemini here on Google, or the I forgot what the Bing version is, and so forth. Like they're all large language models. They they're take like these programmers are taking advantage of what philosophers and linguists have contributed to computer science, artificial intelligence, and cognitive science, which is why people should learn. If people are really interested in this stuff, they should probably learn more about analytic philosophy because this is what we do here. Um, but I mean, every new technology can be good or bad. It depends on it's a tool. It depends on how it's implemented. It's all in the implementation, whether something is good or whether something ends up being a an asset or a detriment to society. It's all in the implementation. I'll say this. every time there is a new technology, people freak out about it. This goes all the way. We can take this all the way like what 2,300 years ago back to Socrates. He was he was worried that writing, which was still, you know, it wasn't new, but most people didn't. Only the educated people were writing. Writing writing was like one of the original technologies, uh, and in the Bronze Age, and he worried that writing would hurt people's ability to use memorization and therefore learning. He thought it would hurt people's learning if they could write everything down because then they wouldn't train their mind to memorize things. So our fretting about AI is just goes all the way back to ancient to classical Greece, where every time there was a new technology, we were worrying something like it was gonna be ruinous for society, whether it was the implementation of formal writing, um, and so on. Like how people fretted about the TV, um, almost almost 100 years ago now. People were fretting about TV. Before TV, it was the radio, the telephone, telegram. Uh, but it's all an implementation. Back in the 80s, it was the internet, and I want to tell people now because people always think we didn't have internet until the 90s. We had internet back in the 80s. Like the oldest ones was like CompuServe. Like mind you, it wasn't modern internet. We were talking about little dial-up type stuff. We were talking about dial-up services like CompuServe, and then later AOL. The difference was with these internet services back then, they couldn't talk to each other. So if you had CompuServe, you could only talk to people who were also using that CompuServe uh, service. Um, Vice versa, like on AOL, you can only talk to other people who were like on AOL. But we did have internet back in the 80s. It's just that most people didn't use it. This was only people who pretty much had money and were nerdy because you had basically nerdy for folks who were nerdy and had money because it was kind of expensive when you were using that dial-up back then to use internet. Like I said, you can only talk with people on that service, and it would charge you. I don't know if it charge you by. I don't think it charged you by a minute. I think about an hour. I don't know how it worked, but it you know. But yeah, we did have internet back in the 80s, and if people don't believe me, you can watch movies like War Games. The movie War Games, they were using internet. Okay, or the movie, or another sci-fi movie, but Weird Science, which shows a young Robert Downey Jr. Weird Science. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, don't remember the lyrics. Weird Science with a young Kelly LeBrock. But anyway, that was one of Steven Seagal's ex-wives, and she was in the movie with him, Hard to Kill. His only good movie for me. I mean, I liked a lot of his movies back in the day. I know I'm going on a tangent. I liked a lot of his movies back in the day, but looking at them now, and in hindsight, most of them were not good. Especially Marked for Death, the way it depicted Jamaicans. It had me thinking they all did voodoo and were like drug dealers. That's such a racist movie. But anyway, Hard to Kill is still like that's still like my favorite Steven Seagal movie, and like really the only one I would rock with. Never mind, I gotta show my wife that movie too. Show her that yet. Because every time like I'll try to find a platform, a streaming services on. Every time it's on one, it moves to another one when I want to see it because we're watching something else. Anyway, oh I missed these series of other comments. Okay, Sean left. So he says an AI judge might reduce crime more effectively than humans, but would people accept being sentenced by a system that can't truly understand human experience? Bro, what are you talking about? We already are being sentenced by a system that can't truly understand human experience. The legal system is like it's, the, the legal system is still running on an understanding of the mind of the human mind and behavior that's like 200 years old. That's already a problem. As far as an AI judge, again, I don't know what you're talking about. You keep saying AI like it's a sentient thing in itself. It's just the, the AI are just a series of different programs running large language models. You're not gonna have an AI judge. What you might have again is like when it comes to things like mandatory sentencing and guidelines, instead of leaving it, I guess the closest allegory to what you're saying is there will still be a human judge, but they will get they will get a rundown of sentencing and guidelines through a through an AI program instead of instead of maybe consulting their legal aid. So I can see that happening. Is that they're is using AI when it comes to certain things instead of consulting the legal aid. That may happen. I can see that happening. But the reason there is a judge is that there is a human component to it. A judge weighs things that are um, not just the law. Like the judge can weigh other things into consideration that a large language model can't. Like just this person's history, this victim uh, pain, the what what the court should be doing to perhaps help this judge get because a lot of judges um, will also make decisions based on how it will affect their career. So they're looking at how will their handling this case ultimately affect their long term career aspirations. Um, or this judge may have a certain ideology or care about certain social justice uh, ideas. So those things are not are not within the purview of a large language model in itself. There'll still be a judge, but there might be, like I said, they might start using AI in place of legal aid. I can see that happen. That may not necessarily be a bad thing. As long as you gotta teach me some martial arts, bro. Um, well, uh, I wouldn't. I would be amenable to that. Like, you can email me. Um, and I can, I can do virtual lessons. Um, I do offer virtual lessons sometimes. Um, like probably over. Yeah, like back in the day, I would probably offer like virtual lessons over Zoom or something like that. Yeah, I could do that. So you should do a stream on teaching martial arts. That wouldn't work on a live stream. Like a pre-recorded video, I can do that, but a live stream, not really. I've actually said, and I haven't done it yet, but 2 years ago I was gonna put out like a little shadow kickboxing routine of me doing like JKD, uh, John Fan JKD shadow kickboxing, just showing my own little routine. Um, but I need better equipment and I need someone there to film it with me. So the main part of it really isn't the equipment, although better equipment would make it more will make it better because I can have like two. So I probably would need like at least two cameras to make it look the way I want it to look. But also, it's not just um, having the right equipment. It's also I need someone to be there to help me film it as well. And right now, I don't have anyone that can help me film it. At one point, a few years ago, I was going to ask my my nephew to do it, but chainsaw dash H2O says, "Hey, I'm here." Ooh, it's getting late. Oh, guys, I'm gonna give it a few minutes and then I'm gonna leave. Do you remember me? I Yeah, yeah, I do. Um, but in any case, like I said, I you actually came at the tail end of this live stream, unfortunately. But I mean, if you want to ask some questions, you can before I dip. But in a few, I am going to dip set. Um, but yeah, if people want to see me teaching martial arts, let me know. Like I said, the way to let me know what you guys want to see is by hitting that super chat button. Hitting that super chat button lets me know what you want to see because again, people vote with their mouth. I mean, excuse me, people vote with their money. I know you're genuinely interested in seeing me do something if you're willing to plunk down some coins for it, you know. But I because often people will tell me, hey, how about this or that for a topic, and I'm like, sure, I'll try it. And then when I actually go to do that topic the very next day, that person doesn't show up, and now I'm left doing a topic that no one was even interested in seeing. So for me, I know someone's genuinely interested in me either talking about something or doing something by them hitting the super chat button to do so. Well, yeah, you're the only one in the chat because again, this is about to end, and it was just low viewership again. So that happens. But again, I'm gonna give it a minute or two, and then I'm about to be off anyway. So you, I don't know what time zone you're in. I'm in Eastern time zone, but for me it's 9 p.m., which means that's my bedtime. Not, I'm to quote the Generation Z folks out there, 9 p.m. is the new midnight. So I I fret at the time all the times I used to be on here to like 12, 1, 2 a.m. And it was a time I was even on for like to 3 or 4 a.m. because the live stream actually went on for that long. It was like a 4 or 5 hour live stream. That's when it was during the heat of the elections and people were talking about that and stuff. How you get so much subs, dude? again, that's the same question you asked me last time. It, again, like I said, sub. You should, if you haven't already, sub to the YouTube creator channel. It gives you a lot of tips. But also, you can't expect subs if you're not creating content. When I went to your page, there's not a lot of content. Like, how do you expect these people don't just subs don't just appear out of midair? If you're not creating content, why would YouTube promote you to potential viewers? You have to produce content. You can't just you think just because you create a channel just doesn't mean someone's going to actually watch you. You got to actually click on content. I don't understand the logic and thinking you want to get subs out of out of like out of thin air. Like think about it this way: if it was a TV channel that didn't air any programs, would you expect people to watch it? That's the same thing with your YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel pictured as a TV channel. If your TV channel is not constantly showing programming for people to watch, then why would it have any viewership and audience? To have an audience, there needs to be content for those people to watch. That's that's basically how YouTube runs. As a YouTuber, you're basically an independent you're independent contractor, right? But you should also look at it in the context of classical TV. You created a channel, so you're TBS, you're ESPN, you're Fox, okay? You're Spike TV, you're Comedy Central, you're the Food Network, you're CNN, whatever. Now whatever your channel is purports to be about, that's the programming you should be showing on your channel. And there should be always you should have regular programming for people to watch to come to your channel to enjoy. I think that's the best way of looking at it. Basically, you created a new TV channel, and now you have to create programming on that channel for people to watch. More content means more. By and well, all other things being equal, more content equals more viewers. Start with that. Once you start making content, then you can start looking at strategies to optimize your viewership. But you can't talk about optimizing uh, your amount of subscribers when you're not even putting out content. So with that, I'm off because it's late for me. But take care. Have a good night, and I'm out, guys. Peace.